Good morning, students. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mulix Academy. So today's topic is important points of glycolysis, then regulation of glycolysis and energetics of glycolysis. In our previous lecture, we have seen the cycle. What are the substrate of glycolysis and how the cycle will occur. In today's lecture, we will see the energetics and regulation of this cycle. So let's start. This is the cycle. Glucose in presence of glucokinase or hexokinase will convert to glucose 6-phosphate. Hexokinase or glucokinase will convert glucose to glucose 6-phosphate and 1 ATP will consumed here. Then glucose 6-phosphate in presence of isomerase enzyme, because glucose and fructose are isomers. So glucose 6-phosphate in presence of isomerase enzyme convert it to fructose 6-phosphate. This will be reversible reaction. This is irreversible reaction. Now fructose 6-phosphate in presence of phosphofructokinase will convert to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. This is again irreversible reaction and 1 ATP will consumed here. This is the energy investment phase. We have already seen in a previous lecture in detail. This is the energy investment phase because we are investing our 2 ATPs. 1 ATP in this step hexokinase and glucokinase, and second ATP in phosphofructokinase step. These two steps are irreversible steps. Now this is the splitting phase, and in splitting phase fructose 1,6-bisphosphate in presence of aldolase will split it to DHAP यानी dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then this dihydroxyacetone phosphate in presence of phosphotriose isomerase enzyme will again convert to glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So from here there are two molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, then 1,3-BPG, again two molecule 3-PG, 2-PG, phosphoenol pyruvate and pyruvate. There are two molecules will form. Now glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in presence of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, so conversion of NAD to NADH and H-ion will convert to 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, then 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate in presence of kinase enzyme, phosphoglycerate kinase will convert to 3-phosphoglycerate. This kinase is reversible reaction. Here ATP will form because it's a substrate level phosphorylation. We have already discussed in detail. Now mutase enzyme 3-phosphoglycerate in presence of mutase enzyme will convert to 2-phosphoglycerate, then 2-phosphoglycerate in presence of enolase enzyme will convert to phosphoenol pyruvate, and phosphoenol pyruvate in presence of pyruvate kinase, again irreversible reaction, it will convert to pyruvate. Here again ADP will convert to ATP or ATP will form. So this is the energy generation phase, because in this phase here NADH is formed, here ATP is formed, here ATP is formed. So energy is generating. So this is the energy generation phase. This is just the introduction of glycolysis. We have already discussed. So if you want to see the cycle, then you can go and see that lecture. Now in anaerobic condition, pyruvate is converted to lactate. We have already discussed in definition that glycolysis can occur in aerobic and anaerobic condition both. If there is anaerobic condition, then pyruvate will convert to lactate. Lactate is the end product in anaerobic condition. So here when pyruvate will be converted to lactate, this reaction will happen in presence of lactate dehydrogenase, and here NADH and H-ion will be converted to NAD positive. This NADH will come from this step. This is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. Here NAD is converted to NADH and H positive. This NADH will come here and this NAD will come here. Understood? This step we have already seen when fructose 1,6-bisphosphate degraded in presence of aldolase enzyme, there is a formation of dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. DHAP and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Then glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate in presence of dehydrogenase enzyme converted to 1,3-BPG, then 1,3-BPG to 3-phosphoglycerate, then 2-phosphoglycerate, then phosphoenol pyruvate, then pyruvate, and from pyruvate lactate will form in presence of lactate dehydrogenase, and here NADH will be used, and this NADH will come from this step. So when we calculate energetics, then we will see in anaerobic condition only 2 ATP will form. We will see later. See, so conversion of pyruvate to lactate, the NADH utilized in this step is obtained from the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. NADH is obtained from the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase and regenerated NAD. This NAD will be regenerated, and this regenerated NAD can be reused by glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, so that glycolysis occurs even in the absence of oxygen. So there is no oxygen, so no ETC. So how this cycle will continue? This cycle will continue like this, even in the absence of oxygen. Yes, now the energetics of glycolysis. Energetics means how much ATP, how many ATPs is formed in this cycle. So first thing we have to remember that 1 NADH will give 2.5 ATP, and from 1 FAD or 1 FADH2 there will be generation of 1.5 ATP. So in glycolysis, first step that will be glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase. There are 2 NADH will form because there are 2 molecules of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. So there will be 2 molecules of NADH. One molecule will give 2.5, so 2 molecule will give 5 ATP. Then phosphoglycerate kinase, substrate level phosphorylation. There will be 2 molecules of phosphoglycerate kinase, 2 molecules of phosphoglycerate. So there will be a 2 ATP formation. Then pyruvate kinase, again 2 ATP will form. So 5 plus 2 plus 2, 9 ATP will form in the energy generation phase. Then 2 ATPs are consumed in reaction by hexokinase and phosphofructokinase. We have already seen in energy investment phase, there are 2 steps where we are utilizing ATP. So 2 ATPs are consumed, so 9 minus 2 ATP, so there will be a 7 ATP. So the net ATP synthesis will be 7 ATP in aerobic condition. But in anaerobic condition, we have already seen that glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, these NADH will utilized in lactate dehydrogenase. So there will be a no ATP synthesis of this step. So there is only 4 ATP will synthesize and 2 ATP will consume. So net ATP synthesis will be 2 ATP. So this is about the energetics in aerobic and anaerobic condition. Now the regulation of glycolysis. So we have already seen that most of the reactions of glycolysis are reversible. Only 3 reactions are irreversible. First is hexokinase or glucokinase, then phosphofructokinase. This is a rate limiting committed step also. Then pyruvate kinase. These 3 steps are the regulatory steps of glycolysis or irreversible steps of glycolysis. Now the importance of one enzyme, that is enolase enzyme. Enolase enzyme is where enolase enzyme convert 2-phosphoglycerate to phosphoenol pyruvate by enolase enzyme. This enzyme is important. Why? Because enolase require Mg+2 and this enzyme is inhibited by fluoride. This enzyme is inhibited by fluoride. So whenever we take the blood glucose sample, whenever we take the blood sample for glucose estimation, so we take the sample in the fluoride vial. Okay, why? Because fluoride in the vial there is a fluoride, so fluoride will inhibit this enzyme, so glycolysis will stop. In the lab for blood glucose estimation, fluoride is added to the blood to prevent glycolysis by the cell. So there will be no glycolysis, so blood glucose is correctly estimated. Cell will not utilize this glucose in formation of pyruvate. So we can correctly estimate the glucose. Fluoride combines with magnesium Mg+2 and phosphate to form a complex that binds with active site of enolase and block access of substrate. This fluoride will inhibit the enzyme enolase by blocking this enzyme by Mg+2 and phosphate, and this type of inhibition is called competitive inhibition, and this inhibitor is called competitive inhibitor. So this is the importance of enolase enzyme. This question is very important for viva purpose, that why we take sample in fluoride vial when we want to estimate the glucose. So simple answer is fluoride inhibit enolase enzyme, which is the enzyme of glycolysis. So glycolysis will stop and we can estimate the correct glucose. That's why we take the blood sample in fluoride vial. Now first there were two steps when we said that this is a substrate level phosphorylation. What is the substrate level phosphorylation? Substrate level phosphorylation is this: when ATP is synthesized from the substrate without involvement of ETC. We have already seen that when 1,3-BPG is converted to 3-phosphoglycerate in presence of phosphoglycerate kinase enzyme, then ADP will be converted to ATP. So this is the substrate level phosphorylation. This 1,3-BPG will give this phosphate to ADP and then ADP will be converted to ATP. So on the substrate level phosphorylation occurs, that's why it is called substrate level phosphorylation. There is no involvement of ETC. Generally ATP synthesized in the ETC, but here there is no involvement of ETC. This 1,3-BPG is a high energy compound. This will give the 1-phosphate group to ADP and ADP will convert to ATP and then ATP will form it. Again pyruvate kinase, this is also a phosphate substrate level phosphorylation, and phosphoenol pyruvate will be converted to pyruvate in presence of pyruvate kinase. Again ADP will be converted to ATP. This is again a substrate level phosphorylation. So this is the energetics and important points related to glycolysis. In our next lecture we will see the energetics of Krebs cycle. So thank you for watching.